So, characters. Making a character sympathetic, one thing that I began to understand as I was writing, this is kind of just a personal philosophy of mine, I realized that there were two general types of characters that I really liked reading about. One was the Everyman, right? The Everyman was the person who started their quest or their story or whatever, kind of in the same place that I was. They're a normal person who has to get thrust into this great adventure. These are the Frodos of the worlds, or even really the Sams of the worlds, right? These are the people who just have, you know, no expectation that heroism is going to come their way, and then suddenly, boom, it's forced upon them. But we do also like supermen / women. These are very popular stories. There's a reason why James Bond was a very popular character. There's a reason why Sherlock Holmes is a very popular character. You'll notice, interestingly, that the modern Sherlock Holmes, all of the adaptations of modern Sherlock Holmes, are much more deeply flawed than the original. If you go read the original, Sherlock really isn't flawed. I mean, the new Sherlock is great, and you've got this whole, you know, sociopath thing going on with him. Go read the original stories. He's not a sociopath. He's just awesome, okay? And Watson is awesome, too. It's like Watson, the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the awesome, and the slightly less awesome, but still very awesome Watson. And, you know, they are just really, really, really good at what they do. And this was very much more popular in the earlier part of the 20th century. If you watch the old Superman television programs, if you listen to old radio dramas and things like this, they were full of supermen and women. I'm not sure why back then that was so much more popular of an archetype. Maybe, you know, whatever the collective unconscious was looking for these heroes to look up to in certain ways, but you ended up with a lot of heroes that really didn't have flaws. I mean, you have more of the, you know, the limitations. Yeah, Superman can get hurt by kryptonite. That's not really a problem with Superman. You know, it's just, you know, it's not like Superman is deeply flawed as a character because kryptonite can hurt him. No, he just only has one thing that can kill him when we have a billion. Yeah.
No, so, I mean, would you then suggest that if we have a character that's like a Superman, that we then try to achieve, like, bigger flaws?
I'm not saying anything right now. I'm doing descriptions of what seems to work. So, this still does work. Anyone read a Dirk Pitt novel? Probably, no? Yeah? Okay, so we've got one person. Sahara, yeah. I guarantee Dirk Pitt sells a lot of copies. He's not necessarily our genre specifically, but Dirk Pitt is a modern Superman. There's nothing wrong with Dirk Pitt. If you read the book, it'll do these things like his flaws or things like he cares too much. Or, you know, he's just... Yes, kids are awesome. Dirk Pitt, I read a Dirk Pitt novel. It was a blast. But the funniest thing was, like, there's a scene where, like, his accountant is trapped on an island, and his accountant's like, well, what would Dirk do? And so he, like, is unarmed but takes out all of the bad guys and, like, grabs their rocket launcher and blows their helicopter out of the sky. Dirk is so awesome that he makes his accountant awesome by proxy, right? This is how awesome Dirk Pitt is. And, you know, these are just... action adventures filled, I mean, the Da Vinci Code. The character from the Da Vinci Code is not flawed, really, in any way, except for that, you know, he just knows too much. And he's just too, you know, it's like all the answers, if your flaws are things like if you went to a job interview and they said, what's your worst flaw? The things you would list there, right? Like, oh, I just like working with people too much. Or, you know, I'm an overachiever. I stay at work too long. You know, if those are your character flaws, you're writing a Superman, okay? These do actually work. There are lots of novels. They don't tend to work in our genre as much, but there are lots of novels that are like this. And you will read them and find out about them and things. I mean, yeah. They happen in teen girl fiction. You know, the It Girl books are about this. They are superwomen that, you know, have some dire problem happen to them, but they're still a superwoman. There's nothing really flawed about them. It's just, you know, life turns against them for a little while, and then they become the It Girl again or whatever. You know, things like that. So your characters generally will be somewhere on this scale. And usually, the really great characters are characters that have a little bit of each. Meaning, you give us something to admire. This is why we like the Supermen, right? We like reading about these books. The Dirk Pitt novel was a blast because it's kind of wish fulfillment. They do all the cool stuff that we wish we could do. We admire them, and we enjoy their capacity. We talked about it over here. They're capable. Giving a character something they're very capable at doing is a good idea. All right? Oftentimes, we get into this sort of flawed character sort of stuff, and we forget to give them something that they're actually very good at. And I feel that this is part of the problem with creating sometimes these bland protagonists, is that they don't actually have anything that they're specifically good at doing.
No, there's nothing specifically wrong with the Everyman. He just can't do everything.
Right, right,
so
yeah.
With that in mind, how do you give a character a flaw?
Well, where did you guys just let me do my lecture? Let me do my lecture. We'll talk about all this stuff. We'll do my lecture. All right. You can ask questions. You just can't. Don't jump ahead in the lecture. You're skipping ahead. Authors don't like that. Yeah, listen and find out. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. So, Supermen. Supermen are very capable. Now, what about the Everyman do we like? Not necessarily the flaws. You're right on that. It's not necessarily the flaws. What do we like? Relatable. Why do we like relatable characters?
Because we're not very specifically good at many fantastic things.
Yeah, okay.
But we think it would be fun to be the hero sometimes.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I think that's what you talked about, like the learning curve, and Everyman really helps with that, and so it makes you, you don't feel so stupid.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it gives you an innate help on the learning curve. Okay, you see potential for growth. That's very good. Yeah.
You get to see yourself in their shoes, thinking, I wish I could be in that situation if I want.
Right. I want to find a dragon egg, right? I'm a normal kid. Hey, this normal kid found a dragon egg. Hey, cool. Where's my dragon egg? Yeah.
Our personality where we like the underdog story. We want to cheer for the weaker.
I was actually, that was where I was going to go next, is underdog. There is something innate about us that loves the underdog. If we generally don't know anything about a contest, we will end up rooting for the person that is perceived to be weaker. It's human nature. I'm not sure why, but we do. And making a character an Everyman makes them relatable, draws us into the story, and gives us this sort of underdog syndrome. Now, you'll notice that a lot of modern stories are very good at doing this. Right? Spider-Man. Spider-Man is this. Spider-Man is, hey, there's this Everyman. Oh, he's turning into a Superman through the course of the stories. This is basically the Wheel of Time, right? Here's Rand. Boom! Now he can destroy the world. And you read 14 books of him learning how to do that, and it's fun and cool because we love this sense of progress. So this is one method of progression that has become very popular in storytelling. This is Luke Skywalker, right? Luke, through the course of the movies, what do we see by the third movie? By the third movie, Luke is Superman. Right? He's Obi-Wan, and we get this sort of reference in the first movie of, here's the mentor, this is what Luke's going to become. We see him becoming that in the second movie. In the third movie, he is that. So this is just one easy method and time-tested method of giving your character a sense of progress.